All right. Well, good morning, all my friends out there. If you're watching on YouTube or you're watching on your social media channel, I've got my good buddy Aaron with me, and man, I'm so happy to have you on board. How you doing today, Aaron?
Hey, I'm doing great, Curtis. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate the invite.
Man, I tell you what, it is cool to see good friends and be able to share some information. Really, I want everyone that gets a chance to watch these videos to kind of see that number one, we're normal dudes, man. We're regular guys. And the magic really is in just understanding kind of the systems. And then in some cases, having a good pal to call and get some help from. So, in simple terms, Aaron, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, that's a loaded question, a lot to unpack, but I'll try to be brief in it. Appreciate you having me once again, Curtis. So, want to tell all the viewers out there that I have a diverse background that combines experience in healthcare with extensive experience in business leadership. As an advanced practice nurse, I've had the privilege of leading my own mental health practice for over 5 years, and that's in Woodstock, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta. So, managing a large psychiatric care facility and team has given me deep insights into healthcare management, high quality patient care, and healthcare regulatory compliance, because that's a big thing. And which adds a really strong clinical dimension to my leadership experience. Beyond healthcare, I also own a roofing and restoration company here in Atlanta, Georgia. So that's also exposed me to the unique operational challenges of the construction industry. My education in business administration has really been crucial in navigating both industries and in my ability to scale these businesses effectively. So balancing my roles as both a CEO and a med manager can be challenging. Each position requires significant time and attention. And I found that the reality of a 40-hour work week leaves me limited time to manage one, let alone both. So as a CEO, my days are really filled with planning, hiring, networking, and overseeing daily operations. And on the healthcare side, as a med manager, I'm responsible for overseeing patient care, managing a clinical team, and ensuring compliance with healthcare regulations. So, unforeseen interruptions, whether it's staffing emergencies or operational crises, can easily throw off my schedule. So I've learned to stay flexible and adaptable.
Man, that is, like you said, that's a lot to unpack, right? So,
Yeah.
much like you, I'm a 40-year martial arts guy. I run a self-defense training company. I've got lots of irons in the fire, and I'm now retired from the military after 24 years. I'm retired from my clinical counseling days, and had a really great experience with that. And again, now I'm kind of doing my retirement gig. So again, I sell firearms, but I also teach kickboxing, jujitsu, the whole 9 yards, which I love to do. One of the things you said, is about managing that time. I'm going to throw you a little curveball here.
Yeah.
Do you have time for your family, or even for hobbies, or how about even your religious practice? I know you're a Christian
Yeah.
man, so how do you cram all that in there? How do you do it?
That's a really great question. So it's really about effective time management. So from the time I wake up in the morning, which is around 4:30, I'm usually in the gym about 5:30. So I give myself about an hour to kind of get woken up, drink some coffee, get my mind right. And during that time when I'm waking up, I'm really just feeding myself spiritual food. So I'm really involving myself heavily in biblical scripture. I'm reading my daily devotionals, and sometimes we come across verses in the Bible that really are intriguing, and I'll actually want to open up my Bible and read about those things in the morning before I'm starting my day, and just constantly feeding myself that spiritual food throughout the day, and prayer throughout the day really just helps me get through it all. And a lot of times we just don't know what the day is going to bring us, but being able to effectively review your calendar on a daily continual basis and set aside time throughout the day to take small rests, whether it's just enjoying a cup of coffee or reading up on something that's going to make you sharper for tomorrow. All of those things I feel like are very important. And then to bring it back in with the family and the home front, just continuously thinking about my children throughout the day, my wife throughout the day, and scheduling things with them and carving out time in the evening times really just helps put it all together.
Yeah, I know it's important to you, brother. I've known you a long time. How long have we known each other? What's your best recollection on time?
I would say probably close to 6 years.
Yeah.
And I looked up to Curtis, to you, for a lot of business advice, because you're not only is your clinical acumen very sharp as a tack, but your business leadership and your business know-how, and you're just very savvy with the way that you put things across to individuals. And I've learned a lot from you, and I do thank you very much for your service to our country, because I feel like that has molded you and made you such like a strong leader. And to that, I almost look up to, because in some ways or another, I feel like sometimes I'm just soft with people. And being a nurse, I have a caring heart. Not saying you don't have a caring heart, but I'm too soft with people sometimes. And that's something that I'm always constantly struggling with and want to get better at. But I look up to you in that regard, is like, you say one thing, it's a command, you get it done, and that's how you do it. And that's what I've always appreciated about you.
Well, man, Aaron, I appreciate that. I will tell you that, when we look at each other, it's almost like looking in a mirror, guys that work hard and have strong beliefs and so forth. I admire your genuine support and your genuine care of people. You've always talked about how you care for your clients, how you care for your family. You're involved. You're not one of these guys that's sitting in the ivory tower letting everybody else do the work. Your therapist, your other employees and your other work. And again, it's really admirable. So I learned a lot from you as well. And I think that whenever you're surrounded by good people, and that really is the magic. And even in my military career, I always had a mentor. I always had a mentor. And you probably remember Mike Pilcher, right?
Yes.
So Mike was the first guy that kind of pulled me under his wing when I got into the clinical counseling practice. I looked up to him. He coached me on some things. I actually drove to Bristol, Tennessee with my wife. We spent I'd never met him before, and he invited me to his house, man. We had dinner, we chatted, and he kind of coached me. So in the same way that he's coached me, I've had the pleasure of coaching good people. You're just a good friend of mine that I've had that opportunity as well. So I think that when we can coach people, if we have a skill or we have a tidbit of information that we think will make a difference, we share that. Isn't that pretty much true in your life as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like in order to rise higher, not only in life and fulfillment and leadership and business, all of these arenas, in order to advance yourself, you have to be able to pour into others. Because sometimes people go throughout their whole life and may have not had the support and the resources that you do as a leader. And just taking time to recognize some people when they're really having a tough time, or taking time to realize that somebody's really just having some difficulties in their life, just setting apart some of your time to really just pour into those individuals. And it could just be even like a small 1 minute coach up that you could have with somebody that could just change their whole outlook for the rest of that year, for the rest of their life. You just never know how much you can impact people positively just by just giving them something that you have. And something that you have may not be like a dollar bill out of your pocket, but it could just be that knowledge or that golden nugget of information that you could give them that could just really help them propel themselves further.
Man, that is so on point. Let's kind of get to the crux of the matter. This entire series that I'm building on YouTube and on the website really is to get people who are business-minded individuals that want to open up a practice. They want to open up their own clinic, and it's hard. I mean, Aaron, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is it being a nurse? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is it being a practice manager or a practice owner?
Sure. It takes a lot of perseverance, tenacity, and just discipline. And some people want to sit there and I believe that hard work is just what you have to be able to commit to. And if you can just say, hey, I'm going to commit to this for the next 5 years,
Right.
next 10 years, and I'm going to commit to being the best person that I can be. You never know which way I feel like the good Lord is going to take you. But if you just make that simple commitment and you write down several goals for yourself of what you want to achieve, and the proverbial saying is they didn't build Rome overnight. So you can just take, as long as you're making slow, steady gains day by day, you can break down that big goal over time, right? So just keeping that in mind that, yeah, day to day, you may not get a win every single day. You may lose one day, but just know that for every bad day you have, there's going to be 10 good days that are going to come right after it. And you almost have to be able to look yourself in the mirror every single day and tell yourself it's going to get better. And I believe in mental health so strongly and just overall holistic health, because that's how they train us in nursing school, is to look at the individuals as holistic beings, right? So we're different from medical doctors, in which medical doctors just basically treat the medical diagnosis. So we're looking as nurses as the individuals being a holistic being. So you have to take care of your mind first. You have to be able to take care of your body and everything that goes into it. So the power of positive affirmations can reap big time rewards in your life. And you can look it up, but I am statements are some of the most powerful statements that you can give to yourself and feed yourself throughout the day. For instance, I am strong, I am blessed, I am favored, I am going to win this contract, I am going to get this sale today, I am going to build my practice to be a $10 million practice one day. Continuously feeding your subconscious mind that, because your subconscious mind is a faction of your mind that takes care of your heartbeat when you don't even think about your heartbeat, takes care of your resting breathing rate when you're not even thinking about your breathing rate, right? So when you're feeding your subconscious mind those positive affirmations, that is the portion of your mind that's going to take care of the real big things in your life. So I am statements are really, really important, and they're powerful, and they can move you from A to Z, if you will.
Man, I love that. Man, I'm gonna feedback some of that. So it sounded like you're saying, hey, take care of yourself. That's mind, body, and spirit, but also set goals. And as you set goals, again, you're not just setting a goal, you're pursuing it, but you're reaffirming that you can, because sometimes we do get doubts. That makes sense. And then ultimately, it's daily hard work, tenacity. You mentioned those words. And I think that that's really important. So let's kind of get into some of the, let's try to get into some of the challenges here. What are in your mind, what are some of the challenges that a business owner either has to prepare extremely well for, or if they get in trouble, has to be able to call someone and say, hey, look, I need some feedback, or I need a second opinion, a second pair of eyeballs on this. So running a business, maybe it's personnel or recruiting or training, management, even the systems, what are some challenges that you think this is important? We can't just blow it off. And this is what I like to do in my practice, or even in your other businesses.
Sure. I'll tell you, the quicker you as a CEO or as a business leader or entrepreneur can develop the notion that I can't only lean on myself to get the job done. I have to be able to master the notion of delegation, right? Because if you are uncomfortable in being able to delegate tasks to another individual, that's gonna be a hindrance to your success, I believe. So when you delegate a task to another individual, you're essentially delegating and appointing this task to an individual, and you're letting that individual know, like, hey, I trust you to get the job done how I would get it done, but I'm putting this on your plate. I'm assigning this to you, and I'm trusting that you will get this done for me. Now, obviously, if they're not getting it done, you'll have to have a circle back with that individual and coach them up to be able to get that task done for you, right? And then sometimes as a business owner, we feel like everything that lands on our plate anyways, and nobody can get the job done like our own selves. The proverbial saying is nobody can scratch your back better than you can, right? So sometimes you have to be able, when things are not working out, you're sitting here, you're like, okay, Aaron, you told me to delegate. I'm delegating all these tasks, but are you really taking a hard look at who you're delegating tasks to? You can't really delegate some tasks to people that are just highly unqualified to delegate that task to, right? So you kind of got to know on the back end what those processes look like for that individual. What are their mental faculties strong enough to take care of this task for you on your behalf? But if they're not, or you don't have anybody to delegate to, you're gonna have to take that on your own. And that's one of the biggest challenges early on when you've got a business, when you're starting up a business, you've got to put your big boy pants on, big girl pants on, and you've just got to suck it up and do it. And the sooner you get into that mindset that I control. I hate to use I because I put everything in the good Lord's plate, like because He controls me. This is the way I feel. It may not be the way you feel, but the way that I feel is He puts everything on our plate, right? And He gives us that strength through. I believe in the power of Christ. He puts that. He strengthens us in all ways. So, but you have to be able to lean on yourself to get this job done, and just know that I have the power to get anything done through the strength of Christ or through the strength of whatever you believe. You just have to know that you can get the job done and trust yourself that you're going to get that done. Challenges are inevitable. Being able to fight through and break through those challenges is when you will start to see success, right? Could just be like, hey, I'm having this challenge, this hurdle getting my business license, and they're not getting me what I need, or I failed my business inspection. You just have to be able to work through these challenges. At the end of the day, when you constantly complain to yourself, that's where I see a lot of business owners really fail is, oh, well, I have to go do this, I have to go do that, I have to go meet with this inspector, or they're flagging me for this, or this person didn't show up to work. You have to be able to turn that back around and say, no, I get to do this. I get to set my own schedule. I get to go meet this inspector today. I get to go meet this fire inspector to get my fire inspection done at my business. All these things can be challenges, but when you look at it as a hindrance, like as this is just like I have to go do these things
Right.
versus get to go do these things, that's where you'll really have a mental shift and be able to push through these obstacles.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that you were, hammering hard on, we got to face challenges, and sometimes they can be tough. Sometimes they can be even heartbreaking. So I love that. Number one, we have to be self-reliant as the business owner. Number two, if we have a religious belief, we could go that way. We could pray about it or meditate or whatever it is that people like to do. I believe in that. I mean, I'm praying regularly because I believe, and it is helpful. It gives me comfort. But then number three is that you can't go just get the business license. You have to work through an organization. It's a system. You can't just go get your permit, for your fire inspection. There's a system, a guy you got to meet, you got to network. And it's neat that you said that I get the opportunity. I get to do this. It's not, oh, I have to do it. It shouldn't be drudgery. So having the right systems in place, the right people in place are super important. You know, I want to help people when they're building their practice. The first goal is the $1 million mark. And you mentioned a $10 million practice. I think that that's a reasonable goal for anybody running a professional clinic or numerous clinics. And I always found that it was easy for me to go find a building and rent it. I was good at that. I could do it. And I was really good at getting out there and finding the talent, you know, the APRNs to do med management, or in some cases, the therapist, the psychologist, these folks that I knew I needed to have. I also found my own billing people, my own scheduling. Well, I was pretty good at that. But I'll tell you what, I am as you said earlier, I'm a hard man. I'm a military man. And I found early on that it's not always easy for me to deal directly with the employees. And my business partner, my wife was my business partner, and she was like you, so wonderful with people, you know, and she was able to establish a different relationship with them than I could. And I just, at one point said, you know, I told my wife, I said, Vicky, you got to handle this for me. I said, I don't want to irritate my employees. I need my employees. And once we recognize their value, and we also recognize the skill set of somebody else, I don't have to be that guy if I've got a person like my wife, Vicky, was able to take that piece on, and she managed the therapists, which was not always easy. So it's good that you mentioned that we have to be able to delegate. It's good that we also have to have that trust. And I was really grateful that I could rely on her. Mm-hmm. So, you know, tell me a little bit about, you know, some tips that you would give to a new business owner. What are some tips, some things, you know what? Yeah, you got to get the business license. Yeah, you got to have your degree and your licensure. Yeah, I mean, we got to do these things. We got that. But what are the tips, the things that sometimes we overlook?
Yeah. So number one tip, I'll tell you, we already talked about a little bit briefly, is just being able to delegate effectively. So being able, like, trusting my team has allowed me to focus on strategic leadership rather than getting bogged down in daily tasks, right? And sometimes, you know, you just have to be able to, it may not be one person that you're delegating to effectively. It could be to another entity that you're delegating to. For instance, I am really good at crunching numbers and adding things up. I've got my calculator right here, right by my desk, my old school high school calculator. It's a TI 30X, right? So like I punch it in, like I'm adding it up, but I delegate my accounting, because you have to have a good accountant if you feel like, if you want to advance in business, delegate that task out. You know, not everything you can do on QuickBooks, right?
Right.
So and you know, going back to what I'm saying about delegation, it may not just be an individual you're delegating to. Sure, you need to know how to delegate to individuals, like you delegated dealing with your clinicians to your wife. You recognize that weakness in yourself, and you said, hey, well, Vicky, take care of it. So being able to delegate not only to individuals, being able to delegate effectively to other entities, whether you can't handle all the phone calls that come into your office. Maybe you need to look at hiring a call center, right? Vetting out call centers. So, and also just staying adaptable, because even the most well thought out plans can change, and being able to pivot quickly is essential. Because a lot of times, if you know in your business something is failing, but you just keep sweeping it under the rug, oh, it's going to get better, it's going to get better, next month's going to get better, and then it's not getting better, but then you're sinking, you got water coming into your ship, and you can't get all that water out in time, you will sink, right? Business in America, business globally moves at a fast pace. So, and one thing I feel like in my nursing career, you know, I worked in the ER. So I mean, you're seeing gunshot victims, you're seeing individuals that are ODing on drugs, or just whatever it is. I mean, you got to be able to, chest pain, shortness of breath, all this stuff. I mean, if you're not quick and making decisions quick, your patients will die, right? And so same thing in business. If you use that notion that I just gave you or threw out there, like, you have to be able to change and pivot very quickly in business, because if you're not watching and knowing your numbers, this is my third tip that I'll tell you, just know those numbers. You got to be able to keep close tabs on your cash flow, your budgets, your KPIs, which AKA key performance indicators, right? If you're not able to maintain those and maintain the financial health of your business, you're going to potentially have some major pitfalls. So if you notice that your KPIs are off on a daily basis, you're watching your key performance indicators, they're off, staying adaptable and being able to pivot very quickly can reap you major rewards in success, right? Because I can't stress that enough. And another tip for a new business owner I would give all your viewers here, Curtis, is being able to prioritize relationships. So whether that's with clients, staff, vendors, strong relationships are invaluable for long-term success, right? Because even when Curtis shot me a text message the other day, he's like, hey, I want to get you in on my podcast. I'm thinking, hey, this is great. You know, I'm so glad that we have this strong relationship that, you know, I believe is forced in Christ, but however you want to look at it, this is a strong relationship Curtis and I have. And when he calls me up or texts me, like, I'm jumping, like, yes, heck yeah, I'm going to jump on your podcast, because I want to not only be able to help Curtis out, but my goal is to help God's people out, help this whole world out, and instill hope in people where there is no hope. So just being able to prioritize those relationships is very, very important. And my last tip that I'll give your business owners is just to be able to embrace continuous learning. So the business world is ever evolving, and I found that continuous learning is crucial to stay ahead. So if you just want to be like that old book and just practice or just run your business the way we used to run business 10, 15, 20 years ago, you're not evolving with time, right? And you know, I haven't even talked about, one of my roles is I've sold real estate for like 15 years. I do private investments, personal investments. I do help some of my business colleagues make sound investments in properties. And so, and just knowing that you have to be able to even adapt in that world and embrace new technologies. Like I had this young real estate agent, she asked me for my details, and I was handing her a paper card. She's like, Aaron, you're not using a Blink card yet? I'm like, a Blink card? What's a Blink card? She's like, dude, you got to stay up on the times. And, you know, she taught me her digits, and it's like, it's right there on her phone, on her Apple Wallet. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. You know, so just being able to embrace little small technologies. Don't have this old mindset where you're just stuck in a pit and you just don't ever want to evolve with time. Like that's the worst thing you could do as a business owner, is just not evolve. Because you know, where I was in my first year getting into healthcare, my first year as a practice owner to where I'm at currently is just light years difference. And just that evolution happened through time and through me not staying stuck in old ways.
That sounds great, Aaron. I tell you, I'm excited to have had you on this this video, man. You've been great. You're a wealth of knowledge. I think it would be great if somebody at some point wanted to reach out to you, particularly if you would be willing to do that. I could refer them directly to you. They might have some business needs that I can't fulfill. For example, maybe even in real estate, but also in your own practice management. So I see you nodding your head. You'd be willing to do some additional coaching yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love helping individuals. I love pouring into individuals. And if you're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach you a little something, something. So I may not know everything, but I do know something. So I'll be glad to help out some of your viewers here.
That
Absolutely.
sounds great. Aaron, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. But brother, you're a great friend. I've known you a long time. Thank you for being here with us. And, you know, God bless you and God bless your family.
God bless you too, man. Appreciate you.
Take
Thanks.
care. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks.